So here I have the whole panel, the whole table glued up. I went and got some pipe and some pipe clamps from Harbor Freight and some pipe Home Depot. Anyway, so on Thursday in the afternoon, Jesse, the shop attendant or assistant or at the Guild of Oregon Woodworkers, great guy. He helped me put the 3 rows in the middle together. I had end joined them, each 3, and then we jointed them on one side, and actually joined them on both sides, and joined those together, and did all the, well, before we did that, we cut all the holes for dominoes to be inserted into those to register them all. And so got those done, and I picked that up today at the shop. It was a very busy shop in the afternoon. I think I took up the big table, and I don't think they appreciated it that much, but there's nothing else I could have done about it. I just had to come pick it up. Anyway, and then I glued the wider ones, just glued these wider ones on together, and again registered them with dominoes every foot down the end on the joint on the boards, and then extra ones down at the end. And so this one board will be probably the issue as far as it's come up. I mean, it is always been up a little in this corner, but I think it won't take but a couple of passes because the dominoes register the whole top so that it's pretty coplanar, or I should say, anyway, all these joints are at the same height. Now the bottom, there's a little bit of variability because we did not plane these boards to be the same thickness, and that's fine because it was Jesse's idea again. As an experienced woodworker, he said, look, do that at the end. That way you can maintain your thickness throughout. If you start getting them all the same, and of course you got to do the lowest, thinnest common denominator to do that, you may take off more material than you really need to, and I think that was a great idea. So the bottom's a little uneven, which is great. Who cares? So what I mean is we can plane that off over at Creative Woodworks. But anyway, here's these, again, the dominoes. I'll get that to focus all the way down the length of each board. So I think it's a nice pattern on here. The one in the middle has got some real figuring. And I think there's a pretty good flow on a lot of these. That flow is pretty good right there. And I think even some of these boards were originally part of the same long board. I had these cut up by Creative Woodworks, as I said, probably 15, at least 20 years ago, so that I could use them. And they had to cut them because there was so much twist to them from one on the whole length that they wouldn't have been usable as an entire board. So they had to be cut in half. And of course, that's the great thing about doing that, cross-cutting them and then rejoining them, is that you can make a square board out of a kind of a warped one, except that you will have that joint. But again, I think these flow pretty well. You can see this pattern, this grain pattern flowing into that one. And they're not all ideal, but I think in general, when it gets planed and sanded down, it'll have somewhat of an illusion of full-length boards. And not that I was it'll be obvious I'm not trying to trick anybody, but it will make it a little more unified, I think, as a look. But anyway, there's some cool patterns in here, as you can see, and some beautiful colors. So I'm excited about this table, and it's 8:30 on Friday. Tomorrow I'll pull the clamps, and then the main thing is to get it over to Creative Woodworking. They're 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, so that I can go from there. And then looking forward to eventually doing a nice finish for it. Watch a lot of that Blacktail Studios, and he likes that Rubio monocoat, and from everything I see, it's a simple and beautiful way to do it. The trick, as he says, is in the sanding. Start with a more coarse grain and work your way up to like 320 grit. So I don't know, I guess I start with 100. So I'll follow whatever pattern he's doing. So you're at about 5 or 6 different grits, and you work your way up, and you take your time with it, and don't skip grains. Bring it up one at a time. until you've really got a nice finish on it. I mean a surface on it that will that the Rubio monocoat should make it look, really pop. And then of course I'm going to cut this table down. This is at about 47.5 right now. I'll cut it probably a little bit on each side so that it comes down to about 46, I think. Our current kitchen table is about 42. 42 seems to be a standard, but I wanted it a little wider than that, just to have more of a presence, and we have a little more room that way, so why not? So probably make it 46. It's about an inch under 7 foot, so I'll probably bring it down to 6'10". The table we have in there without a leaf in the middle is 6 foot, so it'll make it almost a foot longer. It's almost like having a table with a 1 foot leaf in the middle. And then I did go to Rockler and I ordered some table legs. They have one that's called Straw Bundle, and I think it's very popular. It's very modern, but what I like about it, and you'll see it later, is that it moves the whole support of the table right towards the center, and it can do that from the way it's welded up so that you have a lot of free leg room under. It gives even more of an impression of the table floating, and it's very angular, which is very modern. So we'll see how it goes with this. I think we'll have to find some modern chairs, or I'll have to make some modern type chairs to kind of go with that. But I'll get that attached on. It does need to be powder coated first, so that's no big deal. Get it over the powder coat it nice, probably a flattish or flat satin black. And then put some inserts to the bottom of the table that will receive the bolts. I know that the table legs do have slotted holes in them, so that the idea is you don't cinch them down and tighten it into a single hole, because it doesn't give the boards anywhere to move when the humidity increases and decreases, because it certainly will. And so it has to be able to move a little bit, otherwise you're going to split or cup some boards or something. But anyway, I think this is a good start. Looking forward to getting this all together. And next step will be getting it over to Creative Woodworks. We'll see you then. So, also, I skipped. I'm going to have to do some epoxy filling on some of these tiny knots, tiny little pinholes. There's a few of those in the table, like there would be, I think, in any piece of wood. This one here, a couple there, one over there. So I'll get those filled in. Probably with watching again Cameron on Blacktail Studios. He uses a CA glue with a little activator, and then and that'll get those filled in. Cool.